Let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted to make a video game? If you're somebody like me who's played games growing up with friends, then you've definitely thought about it at least once or twice. You know, I remember being really young and playing Terraria for the first time with my friend on the Xbox 360 split screen. Or even other games like Minecraft, Roblox, like Lego Marvel Superheroes, Super Smash Bros. Brawl on the Wii, and Pokemon on the DS. As I got older and as I played more and more games, my curiosity for game development kinda grew with my love for gaming in general. If any of that sounds remotely similar to you and your experiences, then you're probably in the right place. My name is Harley, I am 21 years of age, and I grew up in Wales in the UK. For the majority of my life, I've been in full-time education, and only recently have I been looking for full-time employment. I did very well in my GCSEs, I went through college, I went to university. However, my university experience was very unique. I was somebody that felt pressured to go to university even though I didn't fully know what I wanted to do. I just kind of figured that if I don't really know what I want to do, I might as well stay in education, pick up more qualifications and work it out from there. Turns out that was a terrible idea. I ended up changing what I was studying after 1 year. Like most people that don't exactly know what they want to do, I studied psychology initially. The only logical thing to do was either really think about what I want to do and find a course that would put me on that path, or just come from university completely. After talking to many people about it, and mainly my friend who was doing computer science at the time, I'd come to the conclusion to switch to computer science. The only reason I never took it initially is I was very put off by the mathematics side of things. However, I had the mindset that there's nothing that's too hard to learn at the end of the day. To cut a long and convoluted story short, I did not finish my computer science degree. However, I did come away from it really enjoying the skills I developed on that course. More specifically, I found that game development is something I very much had an interest in. Not only because of the obvious indicator that I enjoy playing games in my spare time anyway, but game development feels like the most creative output and culmination of just programming in general. As I was going through my computer science course, game development was really the main thing I was pursuing in my free time outside of my classes. So when university didn't really work out for me, I still knew exactly what I wanted to do. It was really just a matter of how am I really gonna do that? As game development is not exactly an easy career path, especially when you don't, finish the degree. Which ultimately brings me to the next point, which is what is Cymru Games? And what is this channel? As previously mentioned, I've had a long-term passion for video games. I spent a lot of my time in my youth with that hobby. And a natural interest that comes alongside that, especially growing up in my generation with the internet, is YouTube. YouTube, however, is not something I've ever seriously pursued, and I will admit that is purely just out of a lack of confidence for me personally. If anyone has grown up in the UK, they will tell you that it is a very negative place and can often be very judgmental. I like to often reference the crabs in a bucket, but I understand it, I understand where it comes from. I've been looking for full-time employment for several months now, and I think globally, people my age are certainly struggling to find that, I think. Though I will say I have been fortunate enough to at least land a internship at a local IT company in the city that I was staying in. But these past several months have made me realize that I don't really have anything to lose by actually pursuing this now. While I'm not in a very favorable position, I feel like I'm finally at a point now where I just really want to go for this. And so that's what Cymru Games is. It is the culmination of my YouTube aspirations and game development dreams. I want to document my growth when it comes to game development, and I want to share it with others and hopefully inspire other people to do something similar. I have aspirations of making commercial releases, maybe on Steam. There are so many indie games that I've played through Steam that's really inspired me more and more. And while Steam isn't the most indie dev friendly, with, its 30% cut of all shares, it does a fairly good job at promoting new indie releases. I mean, as for the name, Cymru Games, I wanted to have something at least a little bit professional, especially since I do hope to have 1 or 2 commercial releases at some point. But also I really just wanted to put Wales on the map. Wales as a country has a lot of flaws. It's a country that has suffered through a lot of austerity. And growing up, I used to be very resentful about the areas I grew up in. I used to think, why is everywhere so shit? But as I've got older, I've learned the reasons for why Wales is the way it is. I've kind of become more sympathetic towards it, and I've become a lot more proud of where I'm from. For all its flaws, Wales has very talented individuals. We are a very kind population of people, and I truly think we mean well. And so this is kind of my way of trying to really bring attention to Wales and give back. Now, I mentioned earlier about aspirations to have maybe several commercial releases via Steam, and I want to talk about that a bit more in this next point. Last December, as per usual with the new year, I wanted to map out a concrete plan of what I was going to do regarding game development. I wanted to plan my first commercial release on Steam, and I wanted it to be out before the end of 2026. During my time on my university course, I mentioned I was messing around with game development in my spare time more than anything. I was mainly getting used to Godot. Now when it comes to game development, people have their preferences in terms of game engines, programming languages. To me, Godot is perfect. I've experimented with Unity many times in the past. I've used GameMaker Studio as well. Personally, Godot is amazing and I have absolutely no complaints with it. I understand its limitations, but personally for indie developers and, one person on their own, I have no complaints. For the majority of this time where I was learning Godot, I was developing a game called Hiraeth, which is a Welsh word that means to long for or to yearn. Now this was a video game that was very much inspired by properties like Resident Evil, or even one of my favourite games of all time, Project Zomboid. Yes, shocker, indie dev uses PS1 graphics, yes, okay, I get it. But truthfully, I love this art style, and I think it lends itself well to horror games specifically. There's something about the rough graphics that give it this eerie feeling. This project really taught me a lot of what to do and maybe, what not to do. Back up your builds, please. But I think for a first attempt I got really far. I added an inventory system with animations in the inventory. I learned to fully texture characters and environments. I learned how to integrate animations into these via Mixamo. I also got some pathfinding to work with a zombie, and it also does this when it attacks. Totally intended. However, I fell for the trap that most people who venture into game development fall for, which is the too ambitious, too soon. I was never going to make a Project Zomboid level type of game. That was never going to happen. And even a old school survival horror like Resident Evil or Silent Hill, that was just not gonna happen. At least not at this stage. Now, that was all that I worked on during my year at university. After my course was cut short, I ended up just not working on it anymore, as obviously I needed to, get out of there and find employment. But that proved to be a bit more brutal than I anticipated. And I just figured for the first few months after not finding anything, I just figured I might as well make out a plan for what I actually want to do. Which leads me back to last December, where I mentioned I was making a concrete plan. Around December, the winter season, I played this cute cozy cat game named Easy Delivery Co. Mainly just to get into the winter feeling, and this game was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was very eerie, but it was also really calming. I thought the driving was really frustrating at the start, but it was, I want to say, really fun by the end of it. I think the music was absolutely amazing. I listen to the soundtrack every now and then just because of how relaxing it is. It has this lo-fi and jazz sound to it that I just absolutely love. And so around that time, I figured I could make this. Not to undermine the creator of Easy Delivery Co. at all, because that was made by one guy also, and I don't want to discredit him at all. It's an amazing game. I can only hope to make a game half as good as that. But a part of me played that game and felt like I could do something similar to that. Because Easy Delivery Co. at its core is very simple. But what separates games like Easy Delivery Co. is the execution and how fun it actually is to play. Now, after reflecting on that game and concepting some really rough art, listen, I love my cats, I think they're really cool. Leave them alone. I landed on a game title called Galacticats, and I think that title is honestly perfect for the actual concept of the game, which is just cats in space. I think the name and the concept is just perfectly goofy and they just really complement each other. But when I initially listened to that soundtrack, all I could think about was Cowboy Bebop, and immediately my mind went, well, what if this was in space and you were flying a spaceship instead? You know, Cowboy Bebop is one of my favorite animes of all time, and it is easily one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. I own the vinyl. It's amazing. I love it. So I worked on this concept for a few months, on and off, somewhat regularly. However, around a month or two ago, I did start an internship, as I mentioned, for this local tech company. However, that is coming to a close, and truthfully, I don't know what the future has for me. All I do know for sure is that I do want to do this. And since I started that internship, I haven't been able to work on this game nearly as much as I used to. And that really saddened me, because I thought I was onto something and I really enjoyed working on it. And who knows, this internship could turn into a full-time job. I'm yet to see. But as of now, I really want to develop this game, and I really want to develop this channel and document this game on this channel. That's one of the goals. I want to fully release Galacticats on Steam so everyone can play it. I want to develop a soundtrack to go alongside it. I'd love to commission maybe an artist to develop some sort of comic book for it too. Something like Dispatch done. You know, I also love my comic books. It's one of my favorite forms of storytelling and media. I love it. But only time will tell with all of that. As of now, I'd like to thank everybody for watching this. I tried not to ramble about some of the more unimportant information. As of now, I wanted to keep this very focused and concise. And I just wanted to generally outline where I'm at right now and what my goals are, at least for the rest of 2026. And for all of you watching that maybe have similar aspirations, I really encourage you to pursue them. I think with game development, there's nothing more fulfilling to me than having an idea and then watching it just come to life slowly. Whether it's making game assets with 3D art and texturing it, or even just programming something and it just looks absolutely ridiculous. Even if you make some buggy and goofy spinning zombie, at least it's yours, you know? So please, if you've ever had any thoughts of pursuing game development, there's never been a better time with all the tools that are out there for learning. Now, I'm very anti-AI, but honestly, I think for a new person who wants to get into game development, I don't see necessarily the issue with using it just to pick up concepts. But if you're completely against AI, then I also understand, and there are various other tools out there. Personally, the YouTubers I'd recommend are DevWorm, especially for Godot. Outside of that, I would encourage you to watch other game development YouTubers and see what you can learn from them, and maybe even get inspiration too. You know, I remember several years ago watching this YouTuber called Luke and watching him develop his first game in GameMaker, and it was very inspiring to watch. I just hope by the end of this video I can inspire somebody to go out there and give game development a try, as it is really fulfilling, and there's really nothing else out there that's like it. If you would like to support me and the channel, then there is a Buy Me a Coffee page on the channel's homepage, where you can essentially donate any amount that you want, but I don't want anyone to feel obligated to do so. Simply clicking on videos is genuinely more than enough support for me. But with the situation I'm currently in, working an unpaid internship, I'd be a bit of an idiot to turn down money from people who are offering it. So any support through that is truly appreciated, and it doesn't go overlooked. I'm looking to maybe upload a video once a week, roughly, just to keep some semblance of a schedule. But anyway, I appreciate everyone for watching, and hopefully I'll see you all again next week.